Picture this. The year is 490 BC. On one side, the colossal Persian army, the largest the world had ever seen, a seemingly unstoppable force that had crushed empires. On the other, a small, determined band of Athenian soldiers, vastly outnumbered, standing on their home turf. The fate of Western civilization hangs in the balance. We all know the outcome. The Athenians won a stunning victory. But have you ever stopped to wonder how? How did this David and Goliath story actually play out? Why did the mighty Persian war machine, which had conquered so much of the known world, crumble on the plains of Marathon? The answer isn't as simple as you might think. It's a thrilling story of strategy, desperation, and a few critical mistakes that changed the course of history forever. Let's set the stage. The Persian Empire, under King Darius the Great, was furious with Athens. The Athenians had supported a revolt by Greek city-states in Ionia, a region under Persian control. For Darius, this was an unforgivable act of defiance. He wasn't just looking for an apology. He wanted to make an example of Athens, to absorb Greece into his vast empire and ensure no one would ever challenge his authority again. So, he assembled a massive invasion force. While ancient numbers are debated, historians estimate the Persians landed at Marathon with somewhere between 25,000 and 100,000 troops, including their feared cavalry and elite archers. Against them stood about 10,000 Athenians, later joined by 1,000 of their staunch allies, the Plataeans. The odds were, to put it mildly, not in their favor. The Persians chose their landing spot carefully, the Bay of Marathon. It was a large, flat plain, perfect for their cavalry, which was their ace in the hole. The Persian strategy was likely to lure the Athenians into an open battle on this plain, where their superior numbers and powerful cavalry could envelop and crush the smaller Greek force. For days, the two armies faced each other in a tense standoff. The Athenian generals were locked in a fierce debate. Should they stay put, defending the passes that led to Athens, or should they risk it all in a head-on battle? Attacking seemed like suicide. The Persian archers could rain down arrows from a distance, and their cavalry could sweep around the flanks and demolish the Greek formation. This is where the first key figure of our story emerges, Miltiades. He was an Athenian general with first-hand experience fighting the Persians. He understood their tactics, their strengths, and crucially, their weaknesses. Miltiades argued passionately for an immediate, decisive attack. He knew that waiting was a losing game. The longer they delayed, the more likely it was that pro-Persian factions back in Athens would undermine the war effort, or that the Spartans, who were famously late due to a religious festival, would arrive too late. He convinced the other generals that their only chance was to seize the initiative. His plan was daring, unconventional, and utterly brilliant. So what was this master plan? Miltiades recognized the Persians' greatest strengths were their archers and cavalry. He also knew the Athenian strength, the hoplite phalanx. This was a formation of citizen soldiers, heavily armed with long spears, large bronze shields called hoplons, and bronze armor. In a phalanx, hoplites stood shoulder to shoulder, their shields overlapping to create a near-impenetrable wall of bronze and spear points. It was a terrifying human tank, devastating in a frontal assault. But it was also slow and vulnerable on its flanks. Miltiades' challenge was to get his phalanx across the killing zone, the roughly 1-mile stretch of open ground where the Persian archers could pick them off, and engage the Persian infantry before the cavalry could react. And this brings us to a pivotal moment, a mystery that historians still debate. Where was the Persian cavalry? On the morning of the battle, the Persian cavalry was conspicuously absent from the field. Some theories suggest they were being loaded back onto the ships for a direct assault on the city of Athens itself. Others propose they were out foraging for their horses. Whatever the reason, Their absence was the golden opportunity Miltiades had been waiting for. Without the cavalry to protect their flanks, the vast Persian infantry line was suddenly vulnerable. Miltiades saw his chance and didn't hesitate. He ordered the attack. But he didn't just march his men forward. He implemented a tactical innovation that was pure genius. Traditionally, a Greek phalanx was of uniform depth across its entire front. Miltiades, however, intentionally weakened his center. He thinned out the hoplites in the middle of his line and massively reinforced the wings, or flanks. His line now stretched as long as the Persian front, preventing them from simply surrounding him. The plan was a massive gamble. The center would be weak, but the flanks would be overwhelmingly strong. Then came the charge. The Athenians did something unheard of. They ran. Instead of the slow, steady advance of the phalanx, the hoplites charged at a run across the no-man's land. This minimized the time they were exposed to the dreaded Persian archers. Imagine the sight. 10,000 men in heavy bronze armor, shields up, spears leveled, sprinting towards you, screaming their battle cry. The psychological impact on the Persian front line must have been immense. They were used to enemies who were intimidated by their sheer numbers, not ones who charged them with such ferocity. As Miltiades predicted, the battle unfolded in two phases. The weak Athenian center buckled under the pressure of the elite Persian troops stationed opposite them. The Persians surged forward, believing they were winning, breaking through the Greek line. But this was all part of the plan. It was a trap. While the center gave way, the heavily reinforced Athenian flanks crushed the weaker Persian troops on the edges of the battlefield. The Persian wings broke and fled in panic towards their ships. But the fight wasn't over. Instead of pursuing the fleeing soldiers, the two victorious Athenian wings performed a difficult and brilliantly executed maneuver. They wheeled inward, turning to attack the Persian center from the rear and the sides. Now, the elite Persian troops who had broken through the Greek center found themselves completely surrounded. They were trapped in a double envelopment. Attacked from the front by the reforming Athenian center and from both sides and the rear by the victorious flanks, the Persian formation disintegrated. What was a battle became a slaughter. The Persians, lightly armored and trained for ranged combat or fighting in open spaces, were no match for the heavily armored hoplites in close-quarters combat. Panic set in. The Persians broke and ran for the safety of their ships, with the Athenians in hot pursuit, fighting them all the way to the water's edge. The result was a shocking and decisive victory for Athens. The Battle of Marathon wasn't just a military victory. It was a defining moment for Athens and for the very idea of democracy. It proved that a small state of free citizens could defeat a massive autocratic empire. It instilled in the Athenians an incredible sense of confidence and self-belief that would fuel their golden age, an era of unparalleled achievements in philosophy, art, and politics. The legend of the runner Phaedipides, who supposedly ran from Marathon to Athens to announce the victory before collapsing, is a testament to the battle's enduring power in our collective imagination. Marathon showed the world that courage, strategy, and the will to defend one's freedom could triumph against seemingly insurmountable odds. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this deep dive into one of history's most important battles interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the ancient world. Let me know in the comments what other historical events you'd like to see covered. Until next time, stay curious.